With everybody talking about how we're nearing the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, Mother Nature is listening. We now have another tropical storm on our hands. Tropical storm Lee has formed in the Atlantic, west of the Cabo Verde Islands off of Africa, and it's making its way toward the Lesser Antilles. Let's look at the tropics right now. We've got Tropical Storm Lee here in the central Atlantic Ocean. It's moving west, and it will strengthen in the coming days. We also have a tropical wave coming off of the west coast of Africa, which may indeed follow in the path of Lee later into the weekend. Now, meantime, Tropical Storm Lee, at last check, it had winds of 45 miles an hour near its center, moving to the west-northwest at 16 miles an hour. Here's the Lesser Antilles over here. The northern portion of that is not too far from Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And we're going to be watching that closely because there's a Bermuda high here out in the Atlantic, which is going to be steering Lee most likely north of those northern Caribbean islands as we head into this upcoming weekend. But there could be a glancing blow with a major hurricane. So if we look at it, folks, here, we've got the very warm water out here, warmer than average, even for this time of year, the peak of the season. Lee is likely to strengthen in those abnormally warm waters. Very little wind shear, so there's not much stopping this from strengthening pretty rapidly. And that's the forecast here for Lee's eye path moving forward, strengthening to a hurricane before the end of the work week and a major hurricane this weekend. But notice the timing here into early part of Sunday. It'll be north of Puerto Rico. Being south of a storm like this, usually you don't get too many effects. So we're going to see some risk to lives and property, some impacts, most likely of the tropical storm variety here across those northern Caribbean islands this weekend with some 40 to 60 mile an hour gusts. Now, there are two scenarios where Lee could go after it moves north of Puerto Rico. This is scenario number one. If we have a weak, fast-moving jet, it's going to push this storm out to sea. Now, if this jet stream next week, the middle of next week, is a slower mover and it digs deeper into the southern U.S., that will draw Lee toward the coast. And that might be something we'll be dealing with about a week from now. We'll keep you posted.